Now, I want to stay with Liverpool, actually, because it's topical. I saw this clip after their defeat to Crystal Palace at the weekend, talking about Van Dijk. So a nice little bit of football here to speak about. Let's listen to what was said.
Right now, Virgil van Dijk is going to have a poor season, and you can clearly see that in some ways he's getting older, his timing's a little bit off. For the equalising goal, if you look at his positional play on the equalising goal, he's trying to play offside when all of his teammates around him are 2-3 yards beneath him. Lack of communication, lack of organisational skills, and what's Virgil's most important part? His leadership quality, the way he communicates with his players. You've got to make sure everyone's on the same wavelength. If you don't have that, you're absolutely screwed. I just thought Virgil looked vulnerable. And then the challenge in the first, for me, it's just, you have the lead in the game like this. Why are you handing it back? To me, it was Virgil van Dijk giving away the penalty kick. Virgil van Dijk out of position for the equalising goal. And I think that's a vulnerability that Liverpool are going to have to deal with.
Didn't know Fabio Cannavaro was Scottish. Who is it? Who is he? I don't know who he is.
It's for CBS. I don't know who he is, to be fair. What I also thought is having your tie over your jumper like that is very 2004. It's a very 2004 look he's got here. But look, Van Dijk was at fault for both goals. Do you think that equates to he's going to have a bad season? I'm already hearing names like Virgil van Decline and these things come up from fans, which is quite a good little take at quite a good name. Van Disney. Yeah, it's what do you make of it? Do you think he could have this bad season people are predicting?
This is where I detest analysis of football. And look, I'd love to have TV rights to analyze it because I think it would be great for fan content. But this is where I think the mainstream almost try to be what modern football conversation is, but ridicule themselves. I watched that game. Van Dijk does step up and the rest of the defence doesn't. But I could probably tell you 10 examples of other top defenders doing that in one game. It's a 90-minute game. Sometimes you go and everyone else doesn't go, and it makes you look stupid, but it doesn't mean it's finished. As for the penalty, it's a challenge you have to make. I think Saliba makes that challenge and might miss it as well. I guarantee you Liverpool's defence will be one of the best defences in the Premier League. And people are talking about, even Carragher was talking about it. He did a tweet on the game, it's worrying. It's the same thing I've seen all pre-season. It's the Community Shield. It's pre-season. I don't think it really matters, and I don't think people switch on. And I think when you're somebody like Virgil van Dijk in your 30s and you haven't got that long left, and I saw it with the likes of Vidic, Rio Ferdinand at United, John Terry, you learn to understand the game as you get older, and you understand that you have to play the game in a certain way. And in friendlies and stuff, it's almost like they drop off a little bit on purpose because they're managing their mentality and their minutes for when it matters. And when the real whistle blows, I guarantee you Van Dijk and Liverpool will be fine. Where I'm worried about Liverpool, if I'm a Liverpool fan, is that if they get an injury to Van Dijk or Konate, they're very short in that area. But how many times over the years do people write people off? I mean, Mo Salah was being written off at the start of the last season, and he wins Player of the Year. So no, I mean, I don't understand this analysis because anybody can make anybody look shit. We do it the other way with signings. Oh, Sunderland have bought this player from France. Have you seen the clips? Oh my God, he's got better clips than bloody Messi. But then the reality of watching somebody, you can always find mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, but they'll be absolutely fine. I just think, it's poor analysis, and he's getting very excited about a Community Shield game, by the way, as well. Eulogy of Van Dijk.
I agree. I would like nothing more than Van Dijk to decline and for Liverpool to not win anything and for it to go wrong. Of course, I'm a Manchester United fan. I want that to be the case. The issue for me is I just don't believe it. I was watching the game. I watched the game, and then I did my match reaction, and my brother and I spoke after it. And my brother just saw it a completely different way. No skin in the game from a rival's perspective. He supports Leyton Orient. He don't care. I said, "Oh, do you see?" Because I was in my office by then. I watched the first half with him. I was in the office by then and did the match reaction. I said, "Oh, did you see the goal? Did you see Van Dijk's mistake?" He went, "What mistake?" So he stepped up. He went, and his view was just this. He went, "It's not his fault that the other defenders weren't as intelligent as him." Completely different perspective. When he stepped up, if everybody else went with him, it would have been offside.
It's a good way of putting it, yeah.
And I just sort of thought, yeah, again, I didn't think of it that way, but maybe it's because the commentators called it out, maybe because social media was calling it out, and straight away you think, oh, that's a mistake, and then you don't, and everybody else is confirming it's a mistake. So you sit there and you go, yeah, it must be a mistake. Completely different view as he stepped up. Actually, Frimpong was the reason the player was onside because he weren't in line with his defenders. Nobody's really spoke about that. We used to get that a lot with Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka was awful at dropping too deep. The ball be played in, our centre-backs and our left-back were where they were meant to be, and he'd look offside, we'd all scream offside, you'd see the replay, and there he was, 3 or 4 yards too deep, was Wan-Bissaka. And I reckon we conceded 7 or 8 goals a season like that. So I just don't believe in this Van depreciation, this Van decline stuff yet. I hope it happens because I don't want Liverpool to win. But at this end of the day, the only thing they've been a little bit susceptible to this preseason is counterattacks. And I'm going to put this bluntly. I'm glad there's a chink in the armor. I'm glad there's a weakness because I think, Mark, it means we're going to get an interesting season. If everybody can be beat, if everybody's got a slight flaw, a hole in their squad, or not a good enough attacking midfielder, not a good enough striker, or a little bit susceptible to counterattacks, I think it just means that although the best teams will be the best teams, there's always a little opportunities for some drop points here and some drop points there to keep this title race alive. So personally, I like how it's looking right now. I think it's going to be, I'm not sure about you, I think it's going to be a phenomenal season.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I can't wait for it to start. And the thing is, it's like, I don't know, I think people go chasing narratives because your brother's absolutely spot on. The captain and leader of that team is Van Dijk. If he steps up and says, get out, and no one else does it, is it Van Dijk's fault? You know, if the leader says we're doing this and people don't do it, is it Van Dijk's fault? Like, you know, it raises a good point. But also, Liverpool always under Klopp and under Slot play a high line. They suffocate you high up the pitch. That's what they do. So there is always the ball in behind. And that's why, for me, Alisson is the best goalkeeper in the world because he's a fantastic sweeper keeper. So there is always a vulnerability to Liverpool if you're brave. And Crystal Palace are one of the best transitional teams in the league. I mean, the thing that makes me laugh is that was a fair result. Like, and people were almost like, oh, Liverpool are in trouble. Crystal Palace beat Man City in the final. They stuffed Villa in the semi-final. They stuffed Fulham at home, at Fulham. All good teams last year. Crystal Palace are a very good side that probably will get decimated now because of what's happened in Europe. But
yeah,
that was their best team as well, Palace. Like, they're a good team. And it's pre-season. I wasn't surprised by anything on Sunday, and I wouldn't be worried about it if I was a Liverpool fan.
No, very much the same. They're probably going to add Isak to this team as well, so they'll have more firepower. Plus, it is going to still take them a little bit of time to integrate these new players. Yes, they have their core that's remained, but Wirtz is going to build relationships. You know, Ekitike scored his goal and did very, very well. Their fullback
wasn't their best midfield either. That wasn't their best midfield.
Yeah, exactly. There's loads of things to come. I'm not just, again, I'd love to be wrong and them to not be good, but I'm just not going to labour under any sort of illusions or delusions that Liverpool are going to be, they bought too much, they've spent too much. You know, the same because of it's all because of Aubameyang. Because Aubameyang got a new deal and fell off. Everybody now assumes that when you start paying a player obscene money, that they're just going to stop working hard. Mo Salah got a big pay rise 3 or 4 years ago and didn't fall off. He isn't going to fall off now. He was barely involved in this game. But Mo Salah has loads of matches like that. And in many of them, he pops up and grabs the winner. Yes, he skied his penalty. But Mo Salah's not actually that good a penalty taker. When you look at how good he is at being a footballer, his penalty taking is not great. He misses quite a few a year. So, yeah, look, it's one of those things. I wouldn't read too much into it personally. But viewers, give us your thoughts. Give us your opinion. Let us know what you think and what you feel.
Currently breaking news here. LP says, reported by the Times, Isak moves out of his home to force a transfer. He's just like you and me, but he's homeless. He's homeless. I'm sure he can afford a good hotel.
Yeah, you know what? He's not married to Newcastle. He's moved out the family home. He's taking the dog. Is he taking the dog with him? Is the dog with him?
Where's he going for Christmas? Where's he going for Christmas?
Yeah, it's. I just panicked there. I just see picture of John Barnes come up, breaking news.
Oh, God.
England legend John Barnes, and I thought, oh no, that's facing bankruptcy. Facing bankruptcy, which, listen, that isn't nice, but it's better than what I thought he was. I panicked a bit then. I know he's a Liverpool legend, but I've worked with John Barnes as well. He's a lovely bloke, and I was like, oh no, he's got debt of 1.5 million. Come on. If this was a Liverpool Man United legend, do you know how much the media would be writing hit pieces saying we should pay the debt off? For a fact that story is coming. I thought he'd pass for a second. Then I actually shit myself. I was like, oh no, not another one.